It remains today one of the ugliest things I saw.
Clear direction, clear understanding of what success looks like, clear steps to get there, and support along the way. How can you do anything but succeed unless your choice is to not?
That is a value of mine. And I worked for so many leaders that clearly did not have that value because it was just all about them. Welcome back to Unapologetic Rabble-Rousers. I'm Doc Shellie.
And I'm Carla. And we are going to be wrapping up the segment we've been doing on integrity. We've talked a lot about defining it, recognizing the challenges to it, bits and pieces that go into just living a life of integrity, being aware of the values that drive that. And then what we're going to talk about today is address what happens when integrity is not standing up as strong as it usually does.
Yeah, and we'll talk about some ethical dilemmas, if you will, around personal and professional integrity, just to give some ideas around what it might look like.
Okay. So how about we start in the workplace?
All right.
Because we spend a little bit of time talking about that. We know that professional and personal integrity, they're all embodying in you as a solo person, but there are different scenarios that we wanted to just pick on for a little bit to give an idea about this whole management with integrity.
Yeah, so you think about in the workplace, if you're ever asked by a superior, a leader, a supervisor, manager, whatever the title is you want to give these people, if you've ever been asked to lie about product effectiveness or safety or been encouraged to change data like I was at a former company, I was constantly asked to change data with no reason. My response was always, if you can show me where you've made these changes and it's impacted the data, I will gladly change it. And this person said, I am demanding that you change the data. I'm not going to change it just because you said so. I've run the data. I am the data analyst. I have run the data. They've done the work. This is how the product is working. And it was just a daily grind of my integrity and his lack of integrity and wanting to look good so that his parts were the best.
Yes. Got to have the best parts.
Didn't matter that it might have impact on
lives.
Yeah.
Yeah. I watched from somewhat of a distance a manager of a department, and I was in the IT organization, and the IT organization was doing a survey, customer satisfaction and ideas for improvement, that kind of thing. This was quite a few years ago. So these were like handwritten survey data. And this one department manager really did not like our department manager. And so he decreed that every single one of his employees would fill out the survey, and this is what they would say.
Oh, jeez.
And that no survey would be turned in except by him. And he was going to collect every single one and read it to make sure that his truth
was everyone else's truth.
Yes.
Wow.
And my manager was not able to stand up to this act. And I watched that, and I learned a lot from it. I learned a lot about the challenge of saying, okay, this is a peer of his and the customer, and it was painful to watch it. And for all of those people to have colluded, willingly or not, it remains today one of the ugliest things I saw.
Yeah.
In terms of that manipulation and the inability for two managers to be able to sort out whatever differences they had without drawing in the rest of the community. It was just weird.
Yeah, those kinds of situations are really a test of integrity and placing you between honesty and job security, right? Mm-hmm. So Do I challenge that? How is that going to impact my brand? What are people going to think? Will I still have a job? All of those things can go through someone's head when it's a workplace situation.
Yes.
And what's the right thing to do? What's the best thing to do? How do I stay out of trouble? So a lot can go into course correcting when you see those kinds of things.
Yes.
And standing up for yourself can be a challenge.
And for those who depend on you.
Mm-hmm.
Because really it was his leadership team, of which I was a member, my managers, that this was an indictment on all of us.
Yeah.
And so it was a survey that had an empty value.
Right.
Because it was just these two men. Okay, I'm not going to take it any further. Let's move out of that setting. How about in an academic setting? And this is something that you have a lot of experience with.
Ooh, yes. I used to be an adjunct professor and graded many, many, many papers, and unfortunately had to file a lot of academic violations for people. I remember one specific situation. I taught for a school that did asynchronous courses, so there was a lot of online work. And I had a woman who reached out to me and said that all of her classmates were deleting her posts. That's why she was always late. She didn't like the people in her group. They were bad-mouthing her, and they were demeaning to her, and they tore apart her posts, and they were deleting things. Now, you can't delete your own post, let alone anyone else's. In this system. So I knew she was making things up, and I had already filed an academic violation on her for a paper that she wrote that was about 80% quoted, but not properly quoted. She basically stole another student's work. Ironically, it was a student I had in a previous class. She forgot to change the name on the paper. So she submitted her paper with someone else's name on it. We were slightly distracted by a phone call.
Let's try that again. So she had start with when that she had submitted this student's paper.
So this person had forgot to remove a person's name from a paper that she bought. And it happened to be a student that I had in a previous class.
Oh, my gosh.
And I knew that it was a student from a previous class because she misspelled my name. And it was the same exact typo. And I recognized the student's name. There was just all sorts of integrity issues with this, from lying to me, from the academic violation, to pointing fingers at her team members because they had to do group work, saying that her group was deleting her posts. So I don't think she realized that I have access to the team setting. So I went in and I said, hey, I just checking to see if people are deleting posts in here, blah, 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 blah. And I wrote some stuff, and every person contacted me. They're like, we've been accused of deleting posts. I can't even delete my own posts, let alone anyone else's. And I contacted IT to make sure that that was accurate because I knew I couldn't delete posts. And they said, no, you can't delete posts. I said, can you just look at the track record of this person? Pretty sure you can track. And they said, no, she's logged into the class 3 times. She didn't even log into the group. So there was just all sorts of lies going on. So I don't know what kind of pressure she was under to try to achieve a certain grade, but I remember her getting very upset with me that I had, quote unquote, accused her of plagiarizing. And I said, that's not up to me to determine guilt or innocence. I just file the violation because it was a violation. You turned in a paper that was not yours, and you can convince the board that it was a mistake. That is not up to me to make that determination. That is up to them. You also accused other students of deleting your posts when in fact you did not make any posts. And I have the IT guy to tell me that. So I don't know what you're accusing me of, but here's the dean's email address and phone number. Go right ahead and call them. She shut down after that, and obviously she dropped my class. But this was a theme. She was an extreme, but the theme of plagiarizing happened a lot. The theme of accusing other students of messing with their work happened a lot. And so sometimes I would get phone calls students in tears. Please don't give me a D. I need at least a B average to keep my scholarship, or I need a B average so that my employer will pay for my class. It was so hard not to say, could you tell me who your employer is? Because I'm pretty sure they would not be proud of how you're behaving in my class. But I didn't do it. But those kinds of challenges can really, it challenges the commitment that you have to that honesty and that fair play. And it was a challenge for me because I want these students to be successful. Sure. And I don't like filing academic violations. But it was very prevalent, very prevalent.
It puts you in a curious position.
Yeah.
And at the same time, the fact that you may have withheld saying, you want a B? You know what it takes to get a B.
Exactly.
And you did enough to get a D. So I'm not sure what part of this you're missing.
And I gave my students really good feedback on their papers. I would tell them exactly what they needed to do next time. And most of them paid no attention to it. And I remember one phone call, a student called me and said, I don't understand. I'm an A student and I'm getting B's and C's on my papers in your class. And I said, have you looked at the feedback I've provided? And he said, you gave me feedback? And I said, yeah, very detailed feedback. So why don't you go ahead and find that feedback? And then if you still have questions, I'll be happy to walk you through it. He called me the next day and he said, this is the best feedback I've ever had. And I'm teaching graduate students. And he said, I will make all of these changes. I promise you will see an A paper next time. Straight A's the rest of the time. He did everything I asked him to do. And where he had opportunities to level up, he did. And at the end of the class, he thanked me. He said, I never had to work that hard for an A, but I'm really proud that I did. I don't give A's, you earn them.
Yes, that really was a bonus for him, a bonus learning for him that will stick with him.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I had a couple friends that would often check rateyourprofessor.com or something like that. And they're like, you're tough, but everyone thinks you're fair. My favorite professors in college were the ones that had high expectations, but they laid them out very clearly. And I did that.
That's what you look for in any situation where there's performance that is expected and is going to be gauged.
Right.
Whether you're a student, a teacher, an employer, an employee, that's all it really takes. Clear direction, clear understanding of what success looks like, clear steps to get there, and support along the way.
Yeah.
How can you do anything but succeed unless your choice is to not?
And that's one of the things as a leader that I pride myself in is helping other people be successful. It's not just about me being successful. It's about my team being successful and other people being successful. So that is a value of mine. And I worked for so many leaders that clearly did not have that value because it was just all about them.
Wow. We've talked a little bit about then the professional setting and the educational setting. How about in the financial setting? So this is interesting for me because I was raised to be absolutely clear and honest about everything. And when it came to money, when I was a kid, and we would go to, I hate to say this, the Five and Dime. They knew it as Ben Franklin as an official store back then. But it was. Everything was a nickel or 10 cents. And I got wrong change one time when I bought some bubble gum. And I didn't discover it until I got home. And I rode my bike back to the store to give them the 2 pennies that I had been given that was extra.
Yep.
Or go to the grocery store and you can buy these little thin packages of spices and they end up under the little seat flap that is there for kids who are sitting in the buggy. Yeah. Go out to put my groceries in the car and I find this seasoning pack. Yeah, I'm the one that's going back into the store to pay for it. So things like if you found a wallet of money, it puts you in this interesting space about deciding, is this my fortune? Is this the universe's way of rewarding me for being a good person today? Or Is this a test that's an opportunity for me to demonstrate integrity by approaching an authority or the store where I found it or whatever and saying, this is not mine.
Yeah.
It belongs to somebody, but it's not mine.
I love the stories of people that are down on their luck, or the homeless or indigent people that will find the wallet with $5,000 in it or $1,000 in it. And that could be life-changing money for them. And they're the ones that, no questions asked, turn it in.
Yeah. Yes. So there are a number of variations on that kind of a scene.
Yeah, and it's really looking at personal gain versus doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And then there's another kind of personal gain, and that's in the relationships that we have, that we're blessed to build and maintain. And there's an element that comes with that relationship it's all about loyalty,
Mm-hmm.
right? If we're friends, we are. As friends, I have all of the respect, all of the things we've talked about so far, and I'm loyal. And that loyalty translates into being absolutely honest and caring and respectful. So being able to honor those relationships that have loyalty as a piece of it actually contributes to some challenges on the ethical side of things. It puts you in this interesting space about deciding, is this my fortune? Is this the universe's way of rewarding me for being a good person today? Or is this a test that's an opportunity for me to demonstrate integrity